No one ever sits on that sofa. Yeah.
Hey, Nick!
What is it this time?
You don't believe how many people are here for the trial.
Well, here's a murder case. And they're popular.
What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door.
Next door? They're never...
Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atmay's trial today.
Detective Atmay?
They say they're going to try Miss Master Mask.
Already? That was fast. Supreme...
Boy, I'd love to see Master Mask's trial.
By the way, where's Pearls?
Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore.
Unlike some people. Pearls has really got into her training lately, huh?
Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Delight, good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec.
You don't mean you're the murderer?
No, I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. He doesn't make things easy, does he?
No, none of your defense ever make things easy.
But you can't seem to make up his mind whether he did it or not.
Why are you that indecisive?
Do you think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick?
Is it possible? But today's trial is a race against the clock. I'm double parked out front.
Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always.
I'm afraid that's not an option.
I can't let you do that,
Like
Dave.
I said, I'm parked out front. We gotta be quick.
Huh?
Like Nick has a car. I think Anime has a bike.
I was gonna say, Nick probably can't afford a car. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight.
The offense is ready, Your Honor.
You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Gordo. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I prefer to have no idea what that means, Mr. Gordo. Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war. But that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes. Well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 AM on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 AM of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. Our little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Goddo. Please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Goddo, your witness? Okay then. Let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? Maybe a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but...
Me and I swear. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify.
You've got guts, Trite. Alright then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand.
I'm already here. Get it in there.
You did it, didn't you?
Objection.
Yes.
Leading the witness. What?
No, 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 that's not true.
Follow the friend. Ask the audience.
Well, I thought we set the record for the shortest trial ever.
Too much stress.
Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making.
Once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin.
Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. I wish I could go home.
Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened.
Oh, the judge has been really forceful.
He's got places to be.
That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard at his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I'd been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was.
Short testimony.
1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place.
We get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up.
I feel like I just got enlightened.
It's bitter today too, just like my destiny. You'd never know that from the way he's chugging it down.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please.
I'm literally waiting for you to go. Did I fire 6 shots or only 5?
If he gets to say it, it makes sense for coffee.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly how much am I slightly twitching? It ordered you there?
It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere.
Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then?
Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that.
Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Light? Leave now when you can. So what did the blackmail letter in question say?
It said to bring $50,000. Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway.
Oh? Is that right?
After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of.
Important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Muddy mudskipper now. Okay. You used to be a security chief at KB Security, right? Well, I ponder my chin.
Yes, that's right.
A security chief? You?
And yet, a year ago you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say?
So, nice weather today. Okay, it's not an option. Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job.
Well, word was filled with those who have said, I wish I'd never asked that.
Okay, then I'll take it back.
Defendant, please answer the question.
I needed money.
You needed money?
Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company.
Come again?
KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out and I was fired immediately.
What?
I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I'd done on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that. He sure told you.
So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry.
This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony.
Nick been smoking the poet juice today? D man.
I think his Goddo is having an influence on him, clearly.
Yes. Bust out those metaphors and shit.
Pearl.
Pearl, just throw Pearl in. Mr. Delight, what you said now just doesn't match what you told me yesterday.
Huh? What doesn't?
I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. Ghost. Sorry. The gulp. That's right.
A certain person.
Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife.
Well, but listen to me, my Desi, she's... Looks like we just said, if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault.
What do you mean?
Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about.
Oh.
Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry!
I'll reap furious vengeance.
Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far.
What do you think, Nick?
I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes.
12.
Clearly there was sufficient
Thank you, I
motive
said
of
that.
murder. He sold data for his wife and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much.
The motive is clear. Let's move on.
Mm,
What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now! Tell us. We're all ears.
and my coffee cup is clearly empty.
When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there.
It was the shadow.
Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead.
I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said the Master Mask struck him on the head from behind.
Huh. No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked.
We'll find out if you say what you say is true or not during the cross-examination.
Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend.
You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Gyro. I never go easy on anyone. Look at his face. This is the face of hardened law. Yeah, I'd sound better in my head. To be fair, wouldn't you have a bruise limb if you got smacked on the head?
Possibly.
It's been a couple of days. This game needs realism. That? Can you please clarify what you were referring to?
Why, my Master Mask costume, of course.
Wait, just a moment. Master Mask.
Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Mask to Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security.
What?
Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this. Even I didn't know that. Seems our little friend here really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I never had a chance to mention up until now. Oh, wait, that's not right. You know how sometimes some things just slip your mind?
My sixth cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this as a new piece of information. Witness! Please correct your testimony.
At least you didn't pull the... You didn't ask. Why were you dressed up as Master Mask?
Why? Because I masked a mask, of course.
What are you talking about? Master Mask's trial is being held next door.
Yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Master Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him, just to be safe.
Oh boy.
Oh, let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I'd expected.
Took a lot longer? What do you mean by took a lot longer?
Opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught in the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Buller's body.
What was that? Back up a second.
Yes?
You were the one that hid the body in the safe.
Well, yeah.
Inconceivable! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking?
Joe's getting really angry.
Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine?
That's deep.
What? The answer is simple. When they take them off.
I just mind blown.
As usual, I have no idea what you're saying.
Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer?
So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure.
Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you?
Well, yes. Kind of.
Why am I the only one here not in the loop?
I want to judge everything.
Witness! Make sure you add this to your testimony.
Yes,
Throws
sir.
his gavel at him.
I'm enjoying that playing Angry Judge.
He's really in a bad mood. Someone needs a cup of coffee.
He's taking everything very personally as well, isn't he?
Yes. Who he does. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record?
And what might this be?
The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m.
What?
If Mr. Ron Delight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as the buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way.
Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building.
Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
But, as it turns out, the guard never came.
That was nothing more than a coincidence. That the fact was the guard was a pathetic loser. Ouch. Who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity. Yeah, what he said.
Again, remember who we're dealing with here.
Who? Him or
There's a
Larry?
sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could not have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is.
Conscience? What do you mean?
Fine. Let's hear your theory.
Okay then. Remember the defendant's testimony? The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Light said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes.
Unconscious? So he fainted?
That's why Mr. Light didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. In my Superman pose.
So what you're trying to say is...
Mr. Light was knocked out and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it only means that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever it was knocked out run to light and then pressed the buzzer. I'm on a roll here.
Order in the court! Mr. Wright, this is...
This is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron Light is the one who killed Kane Bullard.
Then who pressed the buzzer?
It was... the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button.
So Kane Bullard pressed the buzzer himself. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright?
The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it was the victim who sounded the buzzer. Because there were no fingerprints on it. I believe this is a piece of emergency
buzzer? Is there some sort of clue on it?
Absolutely not.
Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth.
The fact while there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue.
No, I'm the one who's clueless.
The button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind. Unless he headbutted it.
Ron Light obviously wiped them off.
Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment.
He touched that button, I know he did.
The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. Always. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints?
Order! Order! Order!
It would seem I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow flavored coffee is.
However, if the real killer was at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What is with this awkward silence all of a sudden?
It looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. They're on to you, Nick.
They know you're full of shit. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. Real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m. The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer.
Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed.
Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say.
Very well then.
Oh, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent.
What did the real killer sound? Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer?
The killer knew that if they pressed the button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted.
Do you mean to say that the killer called the guard on purpose?
Yes. Although as it turned out, he never showed up.
Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in?
No, I'm not. When the buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Cain Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron DeLight, who was out cold. And the 3rd person, the real killer.
Hypothetically, yes.
Now then. In this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron DeLight.
And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer.
Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron DeLight for murder. That was tea.
Order! Order! Order!
It would seem I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is...
We're going to have to drag that person in here right now.
But who is it?
I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. DeLight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to keep security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Cain Bullard.
Now then. Let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron DeLight for the murder of Cain Bullard?
Gumshoe, no.
That'd be a twist. Me!
Yeah. Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it.
Is it Luke Atme?
You mean Master Mask did do it?
Your Honor, the person being tried for the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. He is actually the true murderer of Cain Bullard.
What?
Why am I here?
Order! Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Theft and murder, which is the more serious
They're not
crime?
even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to a capital punishment.
Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom.
Of course. The famous detective was unmasked as, well, Master Mask.
Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along.
To be found guilty.
Master Mask had the perfect alibi when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lord Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi.
A guilty verdict. As an alibi?
Diabolical.
You know, it's almost time.
For what?
Look at me's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course. That's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder.
Gumshoe? Oh, you mean Atme.
Mr. Luke's Atme trial has indeed attracted a lot of attention. If we were to intrude and fail to prove adequate proof of his crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal.
Huh. I bet's only good when you realize the ante. Mr. I believe in you.
Mr. Delight.
So, please, I'm begging you.
Actually, the flashback there. I gotta stop having those. Oh god, ghosts. Gumshoe. Edgework, no. Okay, yeah. Got that originally. Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess.
So that's your answer, huh?
Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atmey to the stand.
I'm now off for a secret break. Yes, Your Honor. Meanwhile, in the other quorum. Number 5. Oh, look who it is. That was good. Well, sir, Detective Atmey.
I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly.
Oh no, sir, Detective Atmey. You were the one who...
That's enough, eh?
Oh wait,
This
later.
court sees no reason to further prolong the trial, eh? This court finds the defendant Luke Atmey.
Hold it. Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please.
Well, well, so lawyer, welcome to my courtroom. Who's this order, eh?
See? You Miss Phoenix Wright, attorney at law. And I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atmey. Accusation? You accuse Master Mask! That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer.
What?
Eh? Every line.
I'm just adding it in. It's not even the script bit. It's how you know he's Canadian.
It's the only way you know.
It's the only way I can do it, at least.
Well, that was the dun dun dun. The final part of the trial.
Ooh.
All comes together in a glorious ball of drama.